Hi, I'm Joseph from Joseph City. If you love horror, you're in the right place. In a small remote town in Canada, there stood an abandoned asylum, long forgotten by the world. From the 1950s to the 1970s, it was home to the mentally ill, where unethical experiments, strange disappearances, and horrifying incidents were rumored to have taken place. Officially, the facility was shut down in 1973, but locals whispered that the asylum was never truly empty, because the screams never stopped. William and Emily were on a weekend trip, hoping to escape the city and spend some time exploring nature. While driving through the remote countryside, they stumbled upon the crumbling remains of the old asylum. The building stood tall and ominous, surrounded by dense woods, its entrance shrouded in shadows. Emily hesitated, uneasy at the sight, but William was curious. "Let's just take a quick look inside," he said. "It's abandoned. What's the worst that could happen?" Reluctantly, Emily followed him, and they pushed open the heavy, rusted door. The air inside was damp and stale. Dust covered the floors, and shards of broken glass crunched beneath their feet. Old patient records, rusted gurneys, and shattered mirrors littered the hallways. But the most unsettling sight was the walls. They were covered in scratched messages, as if written by clawed hands. "You won't get out. It watches us. Never close the door." William frowned. "Who do you think wrote these?" he whispered. Before Emily could answer, they both heard it, a deep, rasping breath echoing from somewhere deep inside the building. At first, they thought it was just the old pipes groaning, but then one of the doors at the end of the hallway slowly creaked open on its own, and they heard footsteps. Emily's grip on William's arm tightened. "Is someone there?" she whispered. There was no reply, but the footsteps grew louder, closer. Panicking, they turned back toward the entrance, but the door they had entered through was now shut tight. No matter how hard they pushed, it wouldn't budge. Then, from the shadows of the hallway, a figure emerged. It was tall and thin, its body human-like, but its face was completely blank and featureless. William banged on the door desperately. "Help! Somebody! Help us!" But the world outside was silent. Emily stumbled backward, gasping as she felt cold fingers wrap around her wrist. She screamed and spun around, but no one was there. Yet, when she looked down, she saw deep purple marks forming on her skin, as if something had just grabbed her. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream echoed through the asylum, and it was Emily's own voice. Tears filled her eyes as she turned to William. That was me. How is that possible?" Before he could answer, the doors in the hallway started slamming shut, one by one, as the lights flickered and the scratched words on the walls began to shift and change before their eyes. "Now it's your turn." The next morning, a local man walking his dog past the asylum noticed something strange. Parked outside the crumbling building was a car, its doors unlocked with 2 phones, wallets, and jackets still inside. But there was no sign of the people who owned them. The police were called, and they searched the entire building. They found nothing. No sign of William or Emily, no footprints, no evidence that anyone had been there at all. Except for one thing. On the inside of the asylum's front door, they found deep scratch marks, as if someone had tried desperately to claw their way out. And on the wall, scrawled in what looked disturbingly like dried blood, was a single message. "They came, but they can never leave." Since that day, no one has dared enter the asylum. But those who pass by at night sometimes report seeing 2 shadowy figures in the windows or hearing distant screams that sound eerily like a man and a woman. And some say that time works differently inside that cursed place. That William and Emily are still there, trapped, forever. But maybe they're still there. Maybe even now they're looking for a way out. What about you? Would you dare enter such a place? Write your answer in the comments, but be careful. Some doors, once opened, never close.